When we talk about men's health, one of the most common yet often unspoken concerns is the gradual disappearance of morning wood, or what we call nocturnal or early morning erections. Many men notice that as they move from their 20s into their 30s, 40s, and beyond, this once reliable phenomenon becomes less frequent, less firm, or sometimes stops happening altogether. For some, this shift can feel alarming, even embarrassing, and many quietly wonder, what's happening to me? Is this normal? Is it a sign that something is wrong with my body or my masculinity? The truth is, morning erections are more than just a quirky biological event. They're actually a natural barometer of men's sexual and overall health. They happen because of a complex interaction between the nervous system, blood flow, and hormone levels, especially testosterone. In a younger, healthier body, these systems work in perfect harmony, so waking up with an erection is a very common occurrence. But as men age, that harmony can start to change. Shifts in hormone production, reduced circulation, lifestyle habits, stress, poor sleep, or underlying health conditions can all affect whether or not these erections occur. What's important to understand is that the disappearance of morning wood is not simply about age itself. It's often a reflection of what's happening beneath the surface in your body. Think of it like the check engine light in your car. It's not the problem itself, but it's a signal that something else may need attention. Sometimes it's minor, like stress or fatigue, and other times it may point toward larger issues, like heart disease, diabetes, or hormonal imbalance. Now, many men fall into the trap of believing that because this change is happening with age, there's nothing they can do about it. But that's simply not true. While it's natural for erections to be a little less frequent over time, there are many strategies, backed by science, that can help preserve or even restore sexual health. Small but powerful shifts in lifestyle, paying attention to nutrition, regular exercise, better sleep, and reducing alcohol or smoking can have a profound effect on erectile function. And when lifestyle changes aren't enough, medical therapies, counseling, and professional evaluation can play a huge role in helping men regain confidence and performance. This conversation is not about shame, judgment, or unrealistic expectations. It's about education, empowerment, and recognizing that sexual health is a vital part of overall health. Addressing the disappearance of morning wood is not just about sex. It's about your heart, your hormones, your sleep, and your quality of life. By paying attention to these changes and taking proactive steps, men can not only improve their erections, but also enhance their overall well-being, energy, and confidence. So in today's talk, we're going to break down why morning wood happens, why it starts to disappear with age, and most importantly, what you can do to take back control. Because the goal here isn't just to restore erections, it's to help you live a healthier, fuller, more confident life at every stage of aging. Morning wood, scientifically known as nocturnal penile tumescence, is one of those natural phenomena that often sparks curiosity, yet remains poorly understood by many. It is not just a random or amusing bodily function. Rather, it is a reflection of a complex set of processes involving the brain, hormones, blood vessels, and the nervous system working in unison. To understand why it happens, we need to step into the fascinating world of male physiology and uncover the subtle connections between sleep cycles, hormone fluctuations, and overall health. During sleep, the body cycles through different stages, and one of the most critical stages is known as REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. This is the stage where dreaming occurs and where brain activity closely resembles wakefulness. During REM sleep, the body experiences bursts of activity in the nervous system that influence many processes, including sexual arousal in men. These neurological signals increase blood flow to the penis, leading to spontaneous erections that typically occur several times throughout the night. Morning wood is essentially the last of these nighttime erections, the one that remains when a man wakes up. Hormones, particularly testosterone, play a major role in this process. Testosterone levels naturally peak in the early morning hours, usually between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., which is precisely why erections are most likely to be noticed upon waking. This surge of testosterone not only fuels sexual desire, but also enhances the physiological ability of the penis to become rigid. It is nature's way of ensuring reproductive readiness, a kind of daily system check of male sexual function. Without adequate testosterone, these spontaneous erections would be far less frequent or absent altogether. Another layer to this involves the balance between two branches of the nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is often associated with stress responses, while the parasympathetic is linked to relaxation and processes like digestion and sexual arousal. During REM sleep, there is reduced sympathetic activity and increased parasympathetic activity, which favors erections. The penis, in simple terms, is given the perfect environment to fill with blood and stay erect, without the mental distractions, stress, or anxieties that often interfere when a man is awake. This is why morning erections can sometimes feel more reliable than those that occur during sexual activity, because they are purely biological, unaffected by psychological barriers. Blood flow is another crucial factor. For an erection to occur, the blood vessels supplying the penis must dilate, allowing blood to rush in, while the veins that drain blood must constrict, trapping it inside. Morning wood shows us that, at least during those hours, the vascular system is functioning as it should. If the blood vessels are healthy and responsive, the erection is usually firm. If there are blockages, stiffness in the arteries, or problems with circulation, the erections may weaken or stop altogether. This is why doctors often say that erectile health can be an early indicator of cardiovascular health. Morning erections essentially act as a natural daily test of blood vessel function. The importance of these erections extends beyond sexuality. They help maintain the health of penile tissue by keeping it oxygenated. When blood flows into the penis, it delivers oxygen that keeps the tissue supple and functional. When blood flows into the penis, it delivers oxygen that keeps the tissue supple and functional. Without this regular supply of oxygenated blood, the tissues can stiffen and lose elasticity over time, making it harder to achieve erections later. In this way, morning wood is not only a byproduct of sleep, but also a maintenance mechanism for long-term sexual health. It is also worth noting that morning wood is not always a direct result of sexual dreams or arousal. Many men assume that erections during sleep must be linked to erotic thoughts, but this is a misconception. In fact, they are primarily biological events driven by neurological and hormonal rhythms, independent of conscious desire. A man may not remember any dream of a sexual nature, yet still wake up with an erection simply because his body is running through its natural cycles. Psychological reassurance is another hidden benefit. For many men, waking up with an erection provides a sense of confidence and reassurance that their sexual function is intact, even if there are occasional difficulties during sexual encounters, perhaps due to stress, anxiety, or relationship issues. The presence of morning wood is a comforting signal that the body itself is still working properly. It separates the psychological from the physiological, showing that performance issues may not necessarily be due to physical dysfunction. Age, of course, affects this process. In younger men, testosterone is abundant, blood flow is strong, and sleep cycles are generally healthy, so morning wood is common and frequent. As men get older, sleep often becomes more fragmented. Testosterone gradually declines, and circulation may be compromised by conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol. This does not mean that morning wood must disappear altogether with age, but it does explain why it becomes less frequent. The body is adapting to new balances in hormones and vascular health, and the signs become more noticeable upon waking. In summary, morning wood happens because of an elegant interplay between sleep stages, hormones, nerve activity, and circulation. It is the body's natural way of maintaining penile health, signaling overall wellness, and ensuring reproductive readiness. While it may seem like a trivial or even humorous occurrence, it is actually a window into the state of a man's health. Each morning erection is a sign that the nervous system is firing properly, that blood vessels are responsive, and that testosterone is doing its job. Understanding this process allows men to appreciate the importance of these nighttime events, not just as symbols of masculinity, but as indicators of holistic health that deserve attention and care. As men move through life, one of the changes they often notice is that morning wood, once a regular and dependable part of waking up, starts to decline in frequency, firmness, or may even disappear altogether. This can feel unsettling, but it is actually a natural process tied to the way the body evolves with age. To understand why this happens, we need to look at the many interconnected systems that support erections and how each one is affected over time. Sexual health is never just about one factor. It is the result of hormones, circulation, nerves, sleep, and overall wellness working together in harmony. When age begins to influence these systems, the harmony can shift, leading to noticeable differences in the frequency and quality of morning erections. One of the most significant changes is the gradual decline in testosterone levels. Testosterone is the hormone most closely linked with male sexual function, and its levels begin to drop slowly after the age of 30. This decline is not sudden, but rather subtle, happening at a rate of about 1% per year in many men. Testosterone is responsible for fueling libido, enhancing blood vessel responsiveness, and supporting the neurological pathways that trigger erections. As levels fall, the signals that stimulate spontaneous erections during sleep become weaker, and the body is less able to sustain them through the night. The early morning testosterone surge, which once guaranteed a firm erection upon waking, becomes less pronounced, and that can translate into fewer instances of morning wood. Blood flow is another critical piece of the puzzle. Erections depend on the ability of arteries to dilate and veins to constrict, trapping blood in the penis. With age, the blood vessels throughout the body become less flexible, a process known as vascular stiffening. Conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, which are more common with advancing age, further damage the delicate lining of blood vessels and restrict circulation. When arteries cannot deliver blood efficiently, erections lose their strength or fail to occur. Morning erections, which rely on healthy circulation during sleep, become one of the first casualties of these vascular changes. Because the penis requires especially strong blood flow to function properly, it is often an early site where cardiovascular decline shows itself. Nerve function also changes with age, and this plays a role in the decline of nocturnal erections. The nervous system is responsible for sending signals that trigger the relaxation of penile blood vessels, allowing blood to rush in. Over time, nerve conduction slows down, and conditions such as diabetes can cause direct nerve damage, further reducing the reliability of those signals. If the communication between the brain, spinal cord, and penile nerves is impaired, spontaneous erections during REM sleep are less likely to happen. Even when blood vessels are relatively healthy, weakened nerve signaling can interfere with the body's ability to generate morning wood. Sleep itself is another factor that becomes more complicated with age. Morning erections are closely tied to REM sleep cycles, and as men grow older, their sleep tends to become lighter, shorter, and more fragmented. They may wake up multiple times during the night, spend less time in REM sleep, or experience insomnia. Since nocturnal erections primarily occur during REM, the reduction of this deep sleep stage directly limits the opportunities for erections to occur. A man may still be capable of strong erections in general, but without sufficient REM sleep, the chances of waking up with one are reduced. This explains why stress, poor sleep hygiene, or conditions like sleep apnea can accelerate the decline of morning wood, even in younger men. Lifestyle habits compound these age-related changes. Decades of smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, poor diet, and lack of exercise all take their toll on circulation, hormone balance, and nervous system health. Smoking, in particular, narrows blood vessels and reduces nitric oxide production, which is essential for erections. Alcohol disrupts hormone balance and impairs nervous system signaling, while obesity contributes to lower testosterone and higher rates of metabolic disease. All of these factors accelerate the natural age-related decline in sexual function, making morning wood less frequent and less reliable. Another subtle contributor is the psychological dimension of aging. As men grow older, they may experience increased stress, anxiety, or depression, whether from work pressures, financial concerns, family responsibilities, or health worries. These psychological factors can reduce overall libido, suppress testosterone, and alter sleep quality, all of which influence the likelihood of morning erections. Even though morning wood is largely a biological process, the mind still has an indirect impact by shaping hormone patterns and sleep cycles. It is also worth mentioning that medications become a larger part of life as men age, and many common prescriptions have side effects that interfere with erections. Drugs for high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, and prostate problems can all dampen sexual function by lowering blood pressure too much, altering hormone balance, or interfering with nerve signaling. A man who once experienced regular morning wood may suddenly notice it disappearing after starting a new medication, which can be mistaken as a sign of aging alone when it is really a side effect. In essence, the decline of morning wood with age is not caused by one single factor, but by the gradual wear and tear on multiple systems of the body. Lower testosterone weakens the hormonal drive. Stiffer arteries reduce circulation. Slower nerves dull the signals. And fragmented sleep diminishes the opportunities for nocturnal erections. Add to that the accumulated impact of lifestyle habits, stress, and medications, and the picture becomes clear. The body simply does not have the same balance it once did, and the visible result is fewer and weaker morning erections. While this process is natural, it is important to recognize that it is not entirely inevitable or irreversible. Men who maintain a healthy lifestyle, get quality sleep, exercise regularly, and manage their stress often continue to experience morning wood well into their later years. Conversely, poor health choices and unmanaged conditions can cause it to disappear much earlier. Understanding why it declines with age is not about resigning to fate. It is about recognizing the signals your body sends and taking action to protect not only your sexual health, but your overall well-being. When men begin to notice that morning wood is no longer as frequent or firm as it once was, the natural reaction is often worry, frustration, or even shame. But the reality is that this change is not a permanent fate that comes with age. There are many ways to improve and even restore morning erections. The key is to understand that these erections are not isolated events. They are reflections of overall health. By focusing on lifestyle, medical care, and mental well-being, it is possible to reverse many of the factors that cause them to fade. The process of fixing and improving morning wood is really about strengthening the systems that support sexual function, hormones, blood flow, nerves, sleep, and emotional balance. One of the first steps is addressing lifestyle habits that undermine sexual health. Exercise is perhaps the most powerful tool in this regard. Regular physical activity boosts blood circulation, strengthens the heart, and improves the flexibility of blood vessels, all of which are critical for erections. Cardio exercises like brisk walking, cycling, and swimming help maintain healthy arteries, while strength training has been shown to naturally boost testosterone. Even 30 minutes of daily movement can dramatically improve the chances of waking up with firmer erections because the body becomes more efficient at delivering blood to where it needs to go. Alongside exercise, diet plays a fundamental role. A diet rich in vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, nuts, and whole grains supports vascular health and stabilizes hormone levels, while cutting down on processed foods, excess sugar, and saturated fats reduces the risk of diabetes and high cholesterol, both of which damage erectile function. Sleep is another cornerstone of improving morning wood. Because nocturnal erections happen primarily during REM sleep, getting enough quality rest is essential. Many men underestimate the impact of sleep, but chronic sleep deprivation or disorders like sleep apnea can devastate testosterone production and interfere with the nervous system's ability to trigger erections. Establishing consistent sleep patterns, creating a quiet and dark sleep environment, and avoiding screens late at night all contribute to better sleep cycles. In some cases, seeking medical help for sleep apnea or insomnia can completely transform both energy levels and morning erections. Good sleep literally restores the body, replenishing hormones and ensuring the brain can go through enough REM cycles to trigger healthy erections. Hormone optimization is another piece of the puzzle. For some men, low testosterone is a major factor in the loss of morning erections, while natural lifestyle changes like exercise, weight management, and stress reduction can improve testosterone. There are cases where medical therapies may be necessary. Testosterone replacement therapy, under careful medical supervision, can restore normal levels and reawaken nocturnal erections. However, this is not the first line of action for everyone. A thorough evaluation by a doctor is important to ensure it is both safe and appropriate. Sometimes, the issue is not testosterone alone, but an imbalance between different hormones, such as elevated cortisol from chronic stress, which can suppress testosterone's effects. Managing stress through meditation, breathing exercises, or counseling can indirectly help bring hormone levels back to a healthier range. Blood flow remains one of the most important targets for improvement, and fortunately, it is highly responsive to positive changes. Quitting smoking is one of the most powerful ways to restore circulation because smoking damages the delicate inner lining of blood vessels and reduces the availability of nitric oxide, the molecule that allows arteries to dilate. Without adequate nitric oxide, erections are nearly impossible to achieve. Similarly, reducing alcohol consumption helps, because excessive drinking interferes with both hormone balance and nerve signaling. Maintaining a healthy weight is equally critical, since obesity is strongly linked to lower testosterone, poorer circulation, and higher risks of diabetes, all enemies of morning wood. Men who commit to healthier lifestyles often notice significant improvements within months, sometimes even weeks. As the vascular system begins to recover, mental health cannot be ignored in this discussion. Even though morning erections are primarily a biological process, stress and anxiety still play a powerful role in their frequency. Stress hormones like cortisol interfere with sleep and reduce testosterone levels, both of which make nocturnal erections less likely. Men who live with constant worry or unresolved emotional burdens often find that their sexual health suffers as well. Addressing mental well-being through therapy, relaxation techniques, or simply carving out time for enjoyable activities can create a noticeable difference. Sexual confidence is built not only through physical health, but through peace of mind, and morning wood often returns more reliably when the mind is at ease. In some cases, medical intervention is necessary. If underlying conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease are contributing to the loss of erections, treating these conditions is crucial. Sometimes adjusting medications can help as well, since certain drugs have side effects that impair erectile function. Consulting a healthcare provider allows men to explore alternatives that do not compromise sexual health. Beyond that, there are specific treatments for erectile dysfunction, such as PDE5 inhibitors like sildenafil, which improve blood flow to the penis. While these are often used for sexual activity, their regular use under medical supervision can also help maintain penile tissue health, indirectly supporting the return of morning erections. It is also important to think of morning wood not just as a marker of sexual ability, but as a window into overall wellness. Improving it is about improving the entire body, heart, hormones, nerves, and sleep. Men who commit to healthier lifestyles often find that their energy, mood, and confidence improve right alongside their erections. This creates a cycle of positivity. Better health leads to better erections, and better erections reinforce a man's confidence to keep investing in his health. The process may not always be quick, but it is deeply rewarding and entirely possible at almost any age. Ultimately, fixing and improving morning wood requires patience, consistency, and a willingness to view sexual health as a holistic part of life. It is not about chasing youth or perfection, but about giving the body what it needs to thrive. With exercise, good nutrition, quality sleep, stress management, and the right medical support, most men can regain the vitality they thought was lost. Morning wood, once thought of as a fading sign of youth, can actually become a renewed signal of health, strength, and confidence well into the later decades of life.